you open up the dispensary. What was, let's say, like the first month or so like when you open your doors officially and people are coming in? What was some of the feedback you received, and what were some of the lessons that you learned in those initial months?
Yeah, a great question. We were very, very lucky. I think we live in a very neighborhoody area,
Hmm.
so everyone knew each other. Every other
Oh, that's
shop,
great. Yeah.
yeah. So we were saying hi to everyone, and everyone was saying hi to us. What we did was very different. Is that you know how when there's a store build out, they usually just would block the windows and they're building out inside, and then they do a huge reveal. Um, we didn't do that, mainly because Colin and I just had fun building it out. So people
Yeah.
saw our out as it was happening. Like they saw us moving
Hmm.
things in, they saw our decorations, what I was putting up. So in a sense, I think the neighborhood felt like they were on the journey with us versus having like a huge reveal when we were done. So they knew
Yeah.
CBD store was coming. They knew all that. And they embraced it with open arms, so that's something that we are very lucky to have. And when we first opened, there were a few people. So in the end, I think for Artemis, we get clients who are very curious about CBD, and we're the first stop. So they
Mm,
want
yeah.
all the inside, they want to know everything, or we usually get their last stop, where they've tried, like me, where they've tried everything. They've tried going on pain medication, they've tried going on all that.
Hmm.
They want to approach in much more of a natural, plant-based approach. And we do get some clients who are in the middle, where they've tried it and it didn't work, and they're coming back for
Hmm.
another option. But most likely it's usually the ends that we get, and since we've been around now for a few months, we're getting more of the middle, which is they've tried their CBD in other stores, and
Hmm.
now they're coming back for a second opinion, and they're coming to us for that. When we first opened, it wasn't like that.
Hmm.
With that being said, we had people who were so supportive, and they're like, "Oh, we love CBD. Want to try it because my mother tried it, or my
Hmm.
dog tried
Right.
it,
Yeah.
or anything." The other end of the spectrum, where they came to challenge, which was, what are you guys doing? This is not FDA approved,
Mm.
uh, safe at all. So we saw the breadth of clients that we were getting, and we really honestly appreciated the support and also the criticism,
Hmm.
because that helped us grow as a brand. That just meant that we had to read a lot more books. That just meant that we had to provide a lot more educational tools in the store. And we redesigned the store actually twice to meet those demands, right? Before, when we first opened, our education board was very limited, mainly because we didn't know what we needed to say, as
Hmm.
in what was helpful for our clients. But we did that education board probably a month after we opened, because we realized this was the need that they were
Hmm.
having. And also, we designed it to have a section where there's books available now.
Oh,
So your
great.
book, like
Ah,
so,
yay.
so people can come and sit there and they just can read, and that's fine with us. So now we have that. And as we were developing, we started really working very closely with Dr. Gina Chin.
Hmm.
So the education side came much more, I think, full breath
Hmm.
later on as we were responding to our clients' needs. And with that being said, too, when we redesigned the wall, titration was something that people didn't understand. Titration was something that I didn't understand when
Yeah.
I first started. And we realized too that, reading milligrams to volumes to, it was very, very confusing. And a lot of times when clients come in, they'll be like, "I'm taking the CBD oil and it's not working." And we go, "Okay, how much are you taking?" "A whole dropper." Like, what does
Right.
that mean? Grams? We don't know. What was the bottle? We don't know. So we realized that the math was very important. That there needed to be a little bit of more guideline on intake and all that. So we designed a section of this shop to be very focused on titration, which is that you know exactly what you're taking, what formulation you're taking, what brand you're taking. And then we started designing little serving guides for our clients. So every time when a client walks away, they're walking away with a serving guide to couple with whatever product that they bought. So all of that was really the feedback that we got from all the clients interaction that we had at the beginning of Artemis.
Yeah, man, that's great. The math thing is such a big deal because I've run into that myself many, many times where you uh just recently, even just members of my own family, they'll bring products to me and they're like, "What do you think about this?" Um and we'll talk through what they're doing, and if I say, "How many milligrams are you taking?" That's usually the response, like, "I don't know, half a dropper, dropper." And um And so that's usually the beginning of the conversation. It's like, well, if you're trying to find relief, the first thing you need to understand is what is your dose. Without knowing that, how are you going to replicate it? If especially with the way that the CBD industry is right now, with brands changing a lot, formulations sometimes changing a lot. You've really got to be able to decipher that. And then the next conversation that usually comes after that is we have a conversation about cannabinoids and terpenes and trying to understand the chemistry of the product that someone's taking. But um,
That's right. And I think, sometimes I have friends and also clients in the store where they love edibles, but I'm like, how many milligrams are you taking on the edible? And they're like, a pea size. I don't know. Again, we don't know what that,
right,
that
like
trans. Yeah, exactly. What is it? Like a rice. Yeah, a
right, a
rice
rice,
size.
right, grain. Yeah, what type of rice?
I think that so in that sense, we try our very best, and for me too as well, because I'm monitoring my own pain relief and
Hmm.
my own CBD journey. That whole section is very very important to understand your dosing and what your therapeutic dose is.